In this group over here, we've already started talking about our expository essay, right? Okay? And yesterday, who can tell me yesterday what are some things that we talked about while we read each other's essay? What are some things that we learned? Exactly. We started making this whole essay about our example instead of going back to what we're writing about. Does that make sense? Yes. We started off with a good intro, we brought in another example, and then our rest of our essay was about that one example that we had. Okay? Yes, sir?
I got confused in that.
You said you got confused here? Okay, so when we come back over here today, then ask your questions that you need to ask, okay? When we're over here brainstorming, what are some things we need to be thinking about while we brainstorm? Thinking about the prompt. What else?
Stick to the prompt and don't go like far away.
Yes. All my details on my bubble map, it needs to be reflecting what?
The prompt.
The prompt. Look at your rubric real quick. We're talking about expository. Whatever detail I write down on my bubble map, that detail needs to help my essay be more understandable. By who?
By the reader.
By the reader. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? What did we learn about when we're talking about expository? What is the first thing I need to do when I'm thinking about expository? About in each station, I really want y'all to think about that. Okay? And on this brainstorming, I want y'all to add some details together. We're working on brainstorming. After we cube the prompt, then we start to write. So I want y'all to really focus over there. Okay? Over here, focus on how am I learning about these revise and editing strategies or these examples helping me be a better writer over here. Okay? And over here, we're revising and editing what we are talking about, our essays. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay? You will have 7 minutes at your station. I'll be going around to each station to see what each group's talking about, and then we'll rotate.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that make sense? All right, go ahead and start. Conclusions that we came to was we are not staying on topic. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay? So as I want you to read, I want y'all to take turns reading each other's essay. One person's going to read their own essay out loud. Okay? And where you feel like the person reading has went off topic, I want you to raise your thumb up. Stop. And we're going to start trying to help each other correct our own writing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay? But before we do that, I want you to reread your own essay. And if you have a different sentence structure, if you have used various sentence structures, I want you to highlight that. What do I mean when I say that? If I've used the compound or a complex, what other sentence have we talked about? A semicolon and what else? Time, place, beginning. If I have used it correctly, then I want you to underline it or highlight it. If I didn't use it correctly, I want you to put a star by it because we're going to fix it. Does that make sense? So before we read each other's essays, I want you to reread your own essay and highlight the different sentence structures that you have used and say what it is. We pass it down to the next generation that in turn will pass it to their own children. Okay? Is this sentence written in a good way or a bad way? It's written in a bad way. Okay? So we're choosing the best answer. We know that C's right. Does that make sense? Okay. C says, when we get older, we'll pass it along to the next generation who will then share it with their children. What is something that you learned by knowing the answer C?
It says when we get older, and it says when we grow up.
Okay, so it changes the word. Okay, so how did going from when we grew up to going to older, how did that affect you as you read it?
Because it's like more professional, like you're saying when we get older we do this, but then when we grow up it's like saying like less like
I know what you mean.
yeah.
Okay, so can anybody help Wendy explain what she's talking about, what she's trying to say?
Like when you grow up, it's saying like you're getting like
Growing.
like getting taller and getting older. It's like getting from your age.
Okay, you're on the right track. but we're talking about the different word choice. The author uses different set of words from here to here.
It's like this is in a little kid, like using little kids words, and this is more adult.
Okay, so she's saying that one of them is more formal and the other one is informal. Does that make sense? So the different word choice is either going to help my essay sound better or it's going to bring it down. Does that make sense? Can you look on your rubric and see what category that falls under? That shows that I just learned about word choice in my own essay.
Use more stronger words.
Use stronger words that help communicate what I'm saying even better. Not used correctly, right?
Yes.
Okay, on the back of your paper, I want you to rewrite that sentence correctly. Does that make sense? Okay, and since you don't have your essay, I want you to get out your notebook and I want you to create. I want you to create 2 of these sentences about this topic. Does that make sense? Use your notebook. Okay. Does that make sense? Are y'all sure? Okay. So we're rewriting our sentence that we didn't do correctly on the back of our essay. If you need help, what reference tools do you have?
The foldable.
Your foldable. Okay. Yes, there we go. Because it doesn't reflect here, and we can take this one off. Okay? This same thing that we're doing right now is the same thing I want you to do when you write your essay next Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay? I finish cubing the prompt, I do my brainstorm, and then I chill. And I reread what I put on my brainstorm. If what I put on my brainstorm bubbles does not match what I have in my inside circle, I'm crossing them off. Does that make sense? We're doing all this to help you know what step-by-step stuff you need to be doing on next week. Okay to break rules. And on this circle you say, it's okay to break rules. What am I doing? I'm repeating. If I'm repeating what I'm saying over and over again, what grade am I going to get?
1.
I'm getting a 1. Okay? I say what I think here, and the stuff on the outside are examples and reasons why I think this. And your mom says, Jose, I need you to clean your room. 20 minutes later, Jose, I need you to clean your room. Okay? Jose, I need you to clean your room. Okay? Is that going to get on your nerves?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's like repeating.
She already said that. Mama, I got it. Okay. Right? I heard you the first time. Does that make sense? That's the same thing in here. If you say it's okay to break rules in this first part, I don't need you to say it again because I heard it. I remember you saying it in the first paragraph. Does that mean go back and give me some new reasons for why it's okay to break rules? Okay?
So we should do a complex sentence or semicolon?
Oh.
Or if we do a time or place beginning, you know, like
Compound sentence more easy. Yeah.
no, let's do a hard one.
Oh.
So we can have a better grade. Okay, so we can put in 2005. That's the time.
Oh, like a picture.
An example.
To get your friend.
To get your frame of mind working. Okay? This stuff in the box or the picture that they have up there for the narrative is to help you start your memory thinking about what the essay is going to be about. Does that make sense? Okay? Then what is this part?
Think.
Think. Okay? So you read this and then you just think about what you just wrote. Does that make sense? Okay? So I'm reading a little something about it. Like, that makes me think, and they're helping you with these thoughts here. Sometimes rules seem unfair and unjust. Okay? So what's the purpose of them writing this statement right here?
To help you pick a side.
To start helping you think about, do I agree with this statement or do I disagree with this statement? Does that make sense?
Carlos.
So why don't you come sit over here? Here. Okay? So, then, after I've read what they wanted me to read, and I thought about what they said, then what's my last step? I'm about to start writing. Okay? And somebody read this charge for me, please.
Write an essay explaining whether it is ever okay to break rules.
Okay? So what am I going to be writing about?
If it's okay.
Whether or not it's okay to break rules. Okay? So that is the prompt. I want y'all to write the prompt down, then I want you to cube the prompt, and then I want you to start brainstorming. Does that make sense?
Do any of you understand? You understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, underline what you're supposed to write about.
The same thing we do in reading class is the same thing here. Okay? All of these strategies and all these skills that you're learning can be applied to every single test you take. Everything.
Okay.
Just like when we looked at that expository prompt, okay? She spent this first sentence telling us why it's okay to break rules, right? And what did she do the rest of the essay?
She explained it.
She explained, how many thoughts did she explain? She explained one thought. Okay? She said it's okay to break the rules. This is why she said it. She explained it, and she might have given me an example, and my paragraph is done. Then I move on to the next reason why I think it's okay to break rules. Okay? We're not, just like what we talked about earlier, we're not using our essay to explain and go into a story about our one example. I'm letting the reader know why it's okay. This is why it's okay. Boom, boom. Conclusion. Does that make sense? Okay? So I want y'all to work on the things that Ms. Golden told y'all and what we just talked about here. Okay?
The other sentence, it's not talking about that anymore.
What kind of sentence are you trying to create right here?
20 or right here, the reader will be confused and he will be like, so are you talking about this or this? So I think I'm finished with number 1. So the second one says the text states
Katniss learned that breaking rules may be the best thing, so people won't get hurt or killed. Even though breaking the rules might be wrong, this time it was the right thing to do. Okay, but remember, you did fine here, but in this last paragraph, you're going back to the Hunger Games. Is this essay about the Hunger Games?
No.
No, it's not. What is this essay about?
It's about breaking rules.
It's about breaking rules. Because remember, the only reason why you used Hunger Games was to bring in an example. That's the only reason why you used it. This is not an essay about Hunger Games. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about.
So you're basically like telling, like, or like you said, you're giving an example so you can understand better. Like you can be like, oh, it's at the same time it's good breaking the rule because, and then my example.
Yes. So I'm saying why it's okay to break a rule. Here's my example. Let me explain it a little bit and conclude this paragraph. Okay, paragraph 3. This is another reason why it's okay to break rules. Here's my example to help you understand what I'm saying. Let me kind of clarify that a little bit. Concluding sentence, and that's over. Okay? Once you use your examples, you don't have to continue talking about them. Because then your essay turns into what my opinion is about the prompt into something else that it shouldn't be. Because this is not a summary about the Hunger Games and what Katniss went through. Okay? This is about you pulling in the Hunger Games as an example to explain why it's okay to break some rules. Okay? So, to help you even have this more clearly thought out, your brainstorming is going to be key to you getting a 3 or a 4. Because you have all the right things, you're losing focus. And so, to help you not lose focus, your brainstorm needs to be better. Does that make sense? Okay, but I'm very proud of you for going back to rewrite what you wrote yesterday. Okay? Victor, do you